If you're looking to create, grow, and sustain your wealth, download and subscribe to the Pain Points of Wealth podcast at BeBullish.com with Bob, Ryan, and Chris Payne. It's your podcast for market insights, money tips, and real talk on the economy. Download and subscribe at BeBullish.com.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Fiscally responsible, financial geniuses, monetary magicians. These are things people say about drivers who switch their car insurance to Progressive and save hundreds. Visit Progressive.com to see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary, not available in all states or situations.
Sunday morning. With us today is a good friend, Gary Krupp from the Pave the Way Foundation. And he is I'd say he's an intellectual, a historian, and he's there to identify the differences in religion between regions. Now, Gary, we had a discussion the other day, and tell all our audience what you want to accomplish this Sunday morning.
Well, thanks for having me, John. I appreciate it. As you know, Pave the Way Foundation is working with the Vatican Library, with the secret archives, dealing with these issues. But we came across a book which was written 330 years ago. It was written in 1695 by a cartographer, and it's in Latin. The book is in Latin, and what it is it's actually the first map created for the region. But his name is Adrian Reland, and what he did was he surveyed 2,500 settlements mentioned in the Bible. And what he documented is that there were almost no Muslims living in Palestine 335 years ago. The Muslims that were there were transient agricultural and construction workers. For example, in Nazareth, there were about 700 people. They were all Christian. In Jerusalem were 5,000 people, with the majority being Jewish, and with a few Christians and so on. So it just blows the entire notion that this is the Palestinian homeland and it doesn't exist, and the Jews are occupiers. Absolutely not true. The Jews have been there for 4,000 years, and this book, as I said, you can get it on Amazon if you read Latin, and it's quite remarkable, and nobody knows about this, quite literally.
And say it again so people can understand what you said, just in case they didn't get it the first time.
Okay. The name of the book is Palestina ex Monumentis Vertibus Illustrata. It's a Latin name, and is written by Adrian Reland 330 years ago, with a detailed census of Palestine, what was known then as the Roman name Palestine. And there were almost no Muslims living there at the time, mostly Christians and Jews. Jews have been there 4,000 years. And so the whole notion of this ancient Palestinian homeland doesn't exist. It never did. And this is a very, very important concept. And you can go on to Amazon if you can read Latin. You can actually read this. And it inventories each of the cities, as I said.
So they have been taking the position that it's Palestinian land, and that's not true.
Exactly. This is exactly
so
the case.
It's been the Jewish land for 4,000 years, and they were just workers and passerbys.
Right, and Christians. In Jerusalem, as I said, there were 5,000 people, majority being Jews, a few Christians. But in Nazareth, for example, were all Christians. 700 people lived in that. So this is an actual census that was taken and a map drawing for the region. So this is a very important concept. But in addition to that, I wanted to mention to you, and you remember this quite well, is that through an Islamic scholar by the name of John Andrew Morrow has uncovered over 50 examples of what is called a fatwa, which is the highest authority in Islam, is Muhammad, the Prophet Muhammad, and he issued a fatwa 5 years before in 628, which was 5 years before he died in 632. And the fatwa was very simple. He said that he's ordering his followers until the end of days to protect the Christians and their churches and their books, and to protect the Jews and their synagogues. Why? Because they believe in one God. They, as we do, they're part of our community. And he warns them. And he says, if you do not do this, I will be there on Judgment Day to judge you. Now, John, if you remember correctly, we did this 11 years ago, And, and I tried to get the Wall Street Journal to print it, Forbes magazine, Newsday, all of the newspapers, the religious, nobody would print the article about this reality. And these documents exist. You can see them on our website, on Pave the Way Foundation's website. You can see the images of these documents. There are over 50 of them. This is the highest.
And your website is Pave the Way?
PaveTheWayFoundation.org or PTWF.org. And it's in the peace section about the Edict of the Prophet Muhammad. Most Muslims, and they're wonderful people, who are absolutely petrified of and angered by the illegal use of their religion for violence and so on. This is something they need to know about. It's extremely important.
So
I thank
somebody
you because,
has told the Muslim people that they should kill Christians, but that's not. Muhammad said not to.
Exactly. And you can see them. These are translated. You can actually see the images of the documents with the handprint of Muhammad. Muhammad was illiterate, and they had a handprint and a wax seal which showed that he did this. And these documents, there's some in the Armenian archives in Jerusalem. There's some in Topkapi. They're all over the place. But John Andrew Morrow, you should look him up. He wrote the Covenants of Protection of the Christians of St. Catherine's in Mount Sinai. Very, very, very important. And most Muslims don't even know they exist. It's very, very, very sad because they'd rather take some phrases out of the Quran, which may talk about violence. But this was written after the Quran. This is written in 628. It's now saying, wait a minute, these people are not infidels. They believe in one God as we do, and they're part of our community. So this is a very important concept, especially now when we're dealing with this, some of the statements that have been made by these moronic college kids, and stuff going on in the Holy Land. And this is a problem. But these things are available. You just have to look for it. That's the whole thing.
Gary Krupp, thank you so much. PaveTheWayFoundation.org or PTWF.org.
Correct.
Thank you so much.
Thanks. Happy Sunday. Take care.
If you're looking to create, grow, and sustain your wealth, download and subscribe to the Pain Points of Wealth podcast at BeBullish.com with Bob, Ryan, and Chris Payne. It's your podcast for market insights, money tips, and real talk on the economy. Download and subscribe at BeBullish.com.